Design is the first thing that everyone sees. It's the first thing that everybody falls in love with. And that's the part that you really need to capture.
Rivian made a name for itself when it unveiled one of the first electric pickup trucks, the R1T, in 2018. And it has built a loyal following around a brand that champions adventure and the outdoors.
Their off-road chops are real, and Rivian has that authenticity more than some more mass-market brands.
I'd never seen a truck that had so much attention to detail on it. You want to establish an identity when you do a new car company, and I think they hit it out of the park.
Its vehicles are instantly recognizable from the headlights.
They stole the 2018 LA Auto Show. What made it immediately distinctive was these vertical headlights.
It's a simple, almost a genius solution to establish character, establish face.
The one area we really wanted to differentiate was the face of the car. The Rivian's instantly recognizable.
The company recently unveiled its second and third generation vehicles, the R2, a mid-sized SUV, and the R3, a rally car-esque hatchback.
A lot of people were surprised on R3. It's not something that I think a lot of people would have guessed that Rivian would have done. And that was a key thing we were trying to do, is to show that we're not pigeonholed to one form factor.
CNBC got invited inside Rivian's design lab in Irvine, California, and spoke with Jeff Hammoud, Rivian's chief design officer, about how it created a new EV brand with a distinct personality.
With our cars, we have this different personality between them, having this off-road capability and on-road capability. And while R1 is going to be the ultimate in terms of our off-road capability, we're looking at something like R3, where it's more of soul of a rally car, where it'll still be capable off-road, but has even more great dynamics on-road.
You see them on the road, you go, wow, that really does stand out. That really is a good thing in this day and age where everything kind of much like the same thing out there.
Jeff Hammoud knew from a young age that he wanted to get into car design. After going to college for creative studies in Detroit, he got his first design job working for Daimler Chrysler, mainly focusing on the Jeep brand. In 2017, he met Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe.
A big draw to me was, one, the company's mission, what RJ was trying to achieve from a brand and electrification perspective, but then also this opportunity as a designer, which is very rare, is like, how do you get to build and help shape and design a vehicle and a brand from scratch?
Hammoud had witnessed how Tesla had shifted the narrative around electric vehicles and saw an opportunity for Rivian to target cars popular with Americans.
The two biggest segments within the United States is full-size trucks and SUVs. The idea to go after that market was extremely compelling.
Deciding to create an EV truck, the design and engineering teams went to work making a vehicle with utility while also being practical as a daily driver.
For something like a pickup truck, which is literally designed to carry things, is actually not that great for like common tasks. And if you're going to do something just as simple as grocery shopping, where are you going to put them? That's why we started to come up with these other ideas. Like, well, inherently in the design, we knew we wanted to have a big front trunk, which sets some of the proportion of the vehicle as well, and why we have a longer hood.
Frank Stevenson is an automotive designer that has worked with brands like BMW, Ford, and Ferrari, and is well known for designing the modern Mini Cooper and the McLaren P1.
Typically, I think when you're doing trucks in that category, you'll have a cab and a bed, and they sort of look like they stuck them together modularly. With Rivian, it's one unit. They thought about it on the side to give it a lot of flow to the panels, to the surfacing, so it works really well. It's a modern, very fresh look for a truck of that category.
Knowing that the SUV would be sharing the same platform, the teams had to design with that in mind as well.
We wanted to make sure we were designing them together, and because those cars are common from the B-pillar forward, we made a lot of design choices which not only impacted the package, but impacted design and added functionality to it.
When Rivian unveiled its first vehicles, some unique features got a lot of attention.
At the launch drive, Rivian showed probably the coolest accessory any of us had seen in 10 years, which was an electric stove and grill that slid into the gear tunnel behind the seats, powered entirely off the battery. That's the kind of design thinking. It's not specifically how it looks, but it's how you use a vehicle.
It was such a unique opportunity to do something very different. Like, here's this additional storage space that you could load inside your vehicle. And that started ending up into other little things, like why we ended up with our flashlight in the door, or our little Bluetooth speaker that you can pull out from the center console. We just started thinking about all these customer use cases that we could do and embed into the vehicle to create this really unique experience.
Another iconic aspect of Rivian's design is the front of the vehicle. Its signature headlights have become a defining look of the brand and were a highly debated topic when first unveiled.
There was clearly more dislike than like. They were controversial. It took a while for people to get over it. I think it was smart in that it's harder to make your truck distinctive. So a front end that immediately is like no one else is probably a good thing.
That's the risk, and if you don't risk, you don't gain anything. For me, from a design point of view, the worst thing would have been to do something traditional or something that just blended in with everything else. And I think they were bold, and it's paid off.
Hilariously, my own father told me, oh, I didn't really like the headlights when I first saw them, but they look really great in person.
For the headlight itself, the inspiration came from an unlikely source.
On one of our color material tables, we had a carabiner, and one of the other designers saw that, thought that was cool, did a sketch. What if you put a carabiner on the edge of the hood and that was how you would tie down a kayak, for example? At the time, we just had a horizontal light bar, but it lacked a little bit of personality. So when I saw that sketch, we said, well, why don't we just take that and make it the headlight?
The iconic look is now carried over into its second and third generation vehicles.
As you start to build brand awareness among first your target audience, but then the rest of the car buying world, you want to have a look where people can say, oh, okay, that's a Rivian. Tesla had 4 vehicles that were variations on some of the same design themes, cemented that brand, and Rivian is clearly doing exactly the same thing.
The company was also tapped by Amazon to build 100,000 electric delivery vans by 2030.
The Amazon van was a really fun project. We spent a lot of time with Amazon drivers and just following them through routes to understand how do they use the vehicles. And from a design aspect, this is going to be a vehicle that's going to be driving around in neighborhoods where there's kids and there's dogs, and this idea of creating something that is very friendly. And purposely, when you look at that car, it feels friendly.
In March 2024, Rivian unveiled its next generation mass market vehicles.
We always knew we wanted to do from R2 package is to take what everyone loves about R1 and distill it down into a smaller package at a much more affordable price point so we can get more people into our brand.
Rivian's second generation model, the R2, is a smaller version of its R1 SUV. It says will start around $45,000.
The R2 feels a little bit softer, in part because it's smaller. They had to make it just a scoosh more aerodynamic, I think, to get over the fact that you don't have a long vehicle to spread your drag over.
And while R1 was designed through addition, it was like, how many things can we add to it? We had to look at R2 through subtraction. What are the things we can remove or take away, but still keep the ethos of the product and the brand?
With the R3, it went with a smaller, more compact hatchback design.
Knowing that we want to do another vehicle that's even at a lower price point than R2, something that is not just for US market, but help us scale globally, we started to think about what R3 could be. We said, what's a really cool car that has great on-road performance, but can drive really quickly off-road? And the idea came up for a Soul of a Rally car.
That's the car that'll take them into Europe. And that one is, again, dialed down. It still has the distinctive vertical headlights, but they're no longer as noticeable in a big blank front end at chest height.
In addition to the R3, Rivian also designed a performance variant, the R3X.
So this is our R3X. It's lifted off the ground a little bit. We've got chunky wheels and tires. It was also a really fun experiment for us to play with color. These little accents of orange. If you look inside the interior, we've got this really fun play of being able to add different types of materiality and colors.
The R2 and R3 are coming on the heels of a tough time for the automaker. Weak demand, higher costs, and the US canceling the EV credit could spell trouble for Rivian. But that hasn't stopped the company from breaking ground on a new $5 billion factory in Georgia where the next generation vehicles will be built.
We're first launching the R2 in our facility in Illinois, but this is really the site where we'll scale global production. We're building this into a 400,000 unit plant. We're really bullish on the demand for EVs, and importantly, the demand for something that's, putting EV aside, is just an incredible vehicle. It captures the essence of what was in our R1 vehicle really well, but at a much lower price point. So we're really bullish on that.
The design process still really starts from putting pen to paper. And if you look at some of these sketches here, this is a very small fraction of all the different design ideas that we did when trying to design and figure out what the next R2 was going to be. And from there, we'll often move to either scale models, we'll do them digitally and start to view them in VR, AR, so you can get an overall experience with them before we mill something out into a full-size clay model. This is a key part of our design process, which is a full-size clay model. And it gives you a very quick idea of what this vehicle would look like in full size. The benefit of using this process is we can iterate on this very quickly. We'll use data to verify this model, and if we don't like something, we will quickly change it in clay and match what we want from a production standpoint and ensure before we spend millions of dollars on tooling a vehicle that we're very happy with the service. We call this studio the CMF studio, which stands for Colors, Materials, and Finishes. When we look at color materials at Rivian, we really try to look at areas outside the automotive industry for inspiration. We look at a lot of the products that our customers tend to gravitate towards, and that could be anything from hiking equipment to shoes to backpacks. What we have here is something we call mini mock-ups. So as we come up with different ideas and we filter them down, we'll do a multitude of different ideas. And if you can see through here, I can very easily take some of these out and they're all magnetized so we can really quickly look and feel. I mean, that one's fabric wrapped. I can change it to wood. We can also change the top of the instrument panel pieces as well. And this is an area where it becomes a lot of fun. It's great for reviews. We love getting our CEO looking at these things and helping us create these different combinations.
I like Rivian's interiors because they have interesting fabrics, they have tactile fabrics and materials. And I think they struck a pretty good balance between clean, modern, techie, which is to say fairly screen focused, but not to Tesla's extreme where there's no hard button at all. People spend the bulk of their time not looking at their car from the outside, sitting in it, experiencing it, touching the controls. So I think it's a very smart move.
One of the funnest projects that we've been working on that we're so excited to launch with R2 is something we call our Rivian Treehouse. It's a rooftop tent, so it's mounted on top of the vehicle, but you're able to get a really wide field of view. It's got this big piece of plexi that you can see through. There's also a privacy shade if you want to close it. But that privacy shade can also double as a projector. It works with a very short throw projector, and you can essentially watch movies either inside the tent or outside.
Most car companies are very conservative, and when you get volume producers and OEMs that have to churn out a lot of cars, they tend to play it safe. And I think in this day and age, playing it safe is the fastest road to dying. If you get it right, you win big. If you get it wrong, you can also lose big. For this moment in time, I think Rivian has nailed it.
We're always looking at what the next car is. How can we create a vehicle or a product that's very unique for us, for Rivian, that's solving a problem that maybe hasn't been answered yet. And that's something that continues to have us explore, think outside of the box, and try to look for segments that maybe there is a white space there, and we're going to continue to look at how can we continue to upfit the vehicle. So as you start to create this ecosystem of products within the Rivian brand that allow you to, one, enjoy the vehicle you have today even more, but then as you go to your next vehicle, these are things that can carry over and create this sort of Rivian design ecosystem.